Please give a round of applause to our moderator.
All right. For the third session on the International Conference on Peace upon Mobility, Development, and Nation Building, the third session is on spiritual harmony, integrating end-of-life planning and spiritual need for elderly. For this session, we have 6 distinguished speakers. The first one via video from Professor Harold G. Konix, Director of Center for Spirituality, Theology, and Health, Professor of Psychiatric and Behavioral Science, Associate Professor of Medicine at Duke University Medical Center. The second one via Zoom is Associate Professor Siviang Pailot-Gun, Head of Galunlak Palliative Care Center, Nakarin Hospital, Faculty of Medicine, Khon Kaen University. And the third one on site is Professor Isalang Nutpakuyun, Medical Doctor. He is a Professor of Pediatrics at Faculty of Medicine, Chulalongkorn University. And the fourth one is Associate Professor Dr. Sujila Chaivibuntham. She is a Director of, she is in Division of Adult and Gerontological Nursing, Lama Thipadi School of Nursing, Faculty of Medicine, Lama Thipadi Hospital, Mahidol University. And the fifth one is Dr. Vuttipon Priyapjariyawat. He is the President of Sahasawat Institute. The goal of this session will be looking at spiritual needs for elderly people, because many elderly people facing many challenges, especially reconciliating their spiritual belief with their end-of-life experience, which can be deeply personal and complex process. In this session, all the speakers will try to answer the following important point. What are the main challenges individuals face in supporting elderly loved ones with their spiritual needs as they approach the end of life? And how can these challenges be addressed? The second point, how can family members and caregivers effectively balance spiritual and practical aspects of end-of-life planning for the elderly? The third key point is what ethical considerations should be taken into account when facilitating spiritual support and decision-making for elderly individuals at the end of life, and how can these considerations be managed sensitively? The fourth point, what are the implications of legal and medical guidelines on spiritual end-of-life practice? And should there be more flexibility in accommodating diverse spiritual belief? Next point, how can living will be effectively integrated into end-of-life planning to ensure that both medical decisions and spiritual needs are respected? The next point is, what role palliative care play in addressing the spiritual and emotional needs of the elderly, and how can it be better coordinated with family and spiritual support systems? And lastly, what role should government or insurance policy play in supporting or restricting access to spiritual end-of-life services? And how can this policy be aligned with respecting individual spiritual autonomy? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome the video presentation from Professor Konix. Okay.
Hello, I'm Dr. Harold Koenig from Duke University. and I'm going to give a presentation on spirituality and health in the elderly with regard to palliative care. So I'm going to share my screen now and begin the presentation. Thank you for inviting me to give this presentation. I'm going to speak about the spiritual needs of the elderly at the end of life, the role that faith plays in spiritual harmony and mental health, examine the understanding of how religious faith affects mental health, provide some clinical applications, and some further resources. Many people turn to religion for comfort. Religious faith is used to cope with common problems in life, especially highly stressful situations, including loss, change, stressful circumstances. It's certainly used by many older adults as they face the end of their life. Religion is often used to cope with challenges such as uncertainty, fear, discouragement, and loss of control, all of which characterize the situation that older adults face as they go into palliative care and reach the end of their lives. Now, does religious faith actually help? Does it help older adults? Is there any real objective evidence of this? There is a book that documents the objective evidence. It's over 1,000 pages, and it is the most cited of any other book on religion and health in the world. Let's look at research on religion and mental health, much of which is documented in that handbook. Depression. Less depression, faster recovery from depression. In 2/3 of studies looking at the connection between religious involvement and a person's risk of developing depression. Now, this isn't specifically at the end of life, but it includes older adults towards the end of their life. Alcohol use, abuse, and dependence. Many older adults, as they get to the end of their lives, they have these distressing feelings, and they'll use alcohol or drugs in order to suppress these unpleasant feelings. And this can often use to abuse and dependence. Now, this is less of a problem with older adults who are in palliative care, but nevertheless, religious involvement is an alternative way of coping rather than using drugs or alcohol. 80 to 90% of studies show that those who are more religious are less likely to turn to alcohol or drugs. The same for illicit drug use. Religious involvement is also related to peace and harmony. Of the 326 studies that have been published in the literature, 80% find that those who are more religious, those who have deeper religious beliefs, have greater peace and harmony in general and especially towards the end of life. They have more purpose, sense of purpose, more hope, and more optimism towards the future, even among older adults who are getting close to death. Now, what about social health? Religious people have larger social networks. They have more friends. They are more likely to have family members who will be supportive. And here is how we explain how religious involvement influences mental and social health. And this includes towards the end of life as well. Because at the end of life, this is a time when people are, as I said earlier, are experiencing many losses in their life, and perhaps even the loss of their life as they go into palliative care. And religious involvement helps people to cope across the person's lifespan. It works best if it started early, in early adulthood, or even the young children or adolescents. This is when it has its greatest impact over the lifespan of an individual. But it occurs at many different places where religious involvement attending religious services, praying, reading scriptures, volunteering for religious reasons, religious coping, religious devotion can impact mental and social health. And again, especially towards the end of life when a powerful coping resource is really needed. So what are some clinical applications in terms of end-of-life planning? Well, providers, healthcare providers, should take a spiritual history on all patients, talk with older patients about their spiritual beliefs and practices, respect, value, support the beliefs and the practices of the patient. This has to be patient-centered because these are very personal areas of an individual's life, but very powerful and important with regard to their ability to cope and achieve a sense of peace and harmony towards the end of their life. Ensure that someone meets the patient's spiritual needs. This may not be the healthcare professional, but the healthcare professional can at least listen to the patient as they talk about their spiritual beliefs and how they use those beliefs in coping with their condition. So here are some further resources that might be turned to if you want to know more about how religion might impact a person's mental, social, and even physical health, both older adults at the end of their life, as well as even younger adults as well. We have a website, the Center for Spirituality, Theology, and Health at Duke University, and you can go onto our website. There are many resources here. Much of these resources are free. We have a free e-newsletter that you can sign up for. Here is the website down here where you can go. It provides an update on the latest research and discussions on spirituality and health, both in older adults and in people of all ages. We have a workshop that I teach in the summer. Some of you may be interested in attending that workshop. If you're interested, you can just send me an email or go to our website, and it describes all of the different activities that this 5-day workshop involves. Come to North Carolina in the United States and visit us and learn a lot about spirituality and health at any age. We also have a workshop immediately following that 5-day research workshop on integrating spirituality into patient care. And you might also want to attend that workshop as well. It's an 8-hour workshop all day long on Saturday. Now, many of you may not be able to come to Durham, North Carolina, but you can always use your internet to participate in one of our online Zoom workshops. This is a workshop on moral injury that you might be interested in. Moral injury is a new area. Many people experience guilt and shame over things that they've done in their lives. And this is especially true for older adults who are facing the end of their lives. So this may be very relevant to the work that many of you are doing in palliative care. We also have a faith, holiness, and human flourishing workshop that's held in October. Here is information about that workshop. And then we have, a workshop for integrating spirituality into patient care by Zoom. So the other workshop on integrating spirituality into patient care was in person, but this one you can attend by Zoom, so you don't have to travel to the United States. Thank you. I wish we had time for Q&A, but our time is up, and hopefully you've learned something from this talk.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Connix. The presentation that you show us is a very fascinating aspect, especially in terms of spirituality and health. As a Buddhist in Thailand, we quite know how religion can impact well-being and health of individuals, but it's very refreshing to have an academic research who is a medical doctor in looking at religion and how it impacts health of an individual. Moving on for the next speaker, Please welcome Associate Professor Si Vieng Pilot Kun join us from Zoom.อยู่แล้วครับ
I'm going to share my slide. Are my slide share?
Yes, we can see your slide now.
Okay. Is it full? Okay. Thank you very much for the organizer to give me a chance to share with you how to integrating end-of-life planning and spiritual needs for the elderly. Now, I'm going to talk about the culture context of Thailand, Asian country. Most of us, we have a strong family values, and we respect, the virtue of filial piety is also the Thai culture. You need to do everything the best for your parents. And even this culture, reflect the family participation in shared decision making and also in doing advanced care planning. So typical when the patient, the elderly, has a serious illness, they don't have a chance to share decision making and also make their care plan. And also the healthcare professional always encounter in conspiracy of silence. So I think we need to change this situation. The elderly patient need to have a chance to share decision making and help in planning their own healthcare. Now, for place of death in Asian country, mostly we prefer, the death to be occur at home. And dying at home contribute to the better death compared to dying in the hospital or in the nursing home. Now, I think this is one work, this is the work of Dr. Scott Stronington. He's a medical anthropologist who used to spend time in the northern part of Thailand. And what he observed is that most of the family, when the parents are really sick, they want everything to be done. They will want the parents to be care in the intensive care and every technology that they want to have it. But if they realize that their parents is dying, they will quickly, bring their parents back to die at home. So I think this situation is seem quite paradox. You want everything to be done, and when you're going to die, you're going to rush to die at their home.
Excuse me, please move the
Right.
PowerPoint, please. Oh, we cannot see your PowerPoint.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, it's still not working. Okay.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's working now.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Poor technical. Okay. So this is the qualitative study. To see the perception of good death of the older adult in the semi-urban community in Thailand. So their perception of good death for the older adult is that to die, death without suffering and natural death. So it means that they don't want to suffer from life support devices. And also death without worries. It means that they have time to prepare for the day, to finish their unfinished business. And death among family members and family place is they perceived as a good death. Also, in the study in the population based in the southern of Thailand, what they prefer or they represent as a end-of-life care and good death is that to receive the truth about their illness. So it means that the elderly, they want to know the information and they want to share decision making. And being free of distressing symptoms, having loved one nearby, and living a meaningful life. And so the relief of suffering, preparation for death, being with family, and the place of death were consistently mentioned in this study and is element of the Buddhist definition of good death. Now, for view of good death for the Thai Buddhist context, the Thai Buddhist cancer patient, they describe how they undergo 3 dynamic phases of accepting death. They want to participate in suffering, openness to death, open to death, and adherence to the Buddhist practice to increase death consciousness. And also for the Buddhist, the cancer patient, the element of the Buddhist definition of good death for the cancer patient is to relieve suffering, to prepare for death, being with family and place of death. I mean, we could see that being with the family and place of death, we could find in most study. Now, for the opinion regarding wishes toward the end of life among the Thai elderly, so they want a peaceful and dignified passing. They want to know the truth. They want to, have a chance to share decision making. And 75% of the elderly patients from this study, they don't desire life support treatment if the likelihood of survival was low. Now, when we, looking at this, it means that if the elderly have a chance to have a shared decision making, to have information and decide their own health care plan in the future. So this is what we call advanced care planning. So in advanced care planning, we explore the values and the preference of the patient. And the definition of advanced care planning is the process of assisting adults of any age or any health situation in understand and communicate their values, life goal, and care preference for the future. And a good death could be attained by organizing one's own advanced care planning. Now, when we consider about palliative care, when the people has a serious illness, and especially if they're at the end of life, palliative care is in need for these people. So palliative is a holistic and compassionate care. And the pain and symptom control is the important element of palliative care, as well as psychological and spiritual care. So in palliative care, we facilitate open communication. We provide them clear information about their prognosis, about their disease, and also the option of treatment. And we respect the patient preference. We try to explore the values and preference of the patient and help them create their own advanced care planning. And we ensure that their values and goal of care are the center of decision, especially if they are at the end of life. So also palliative provides support system to help the family live active as possible until they die. And also we help the family to cope during the patient's illness and also with the bereavement care. And we try to enhance the quality of life of the patient. And we, if palliative care is applied earlier in the disease, the better the quality of life. I would say that in Thailand, in this past decade, they have the development of palliative care in Thailand, we make a big progress. Every hospital have a palliative care unit where they can serve the people, patients who have serious illness, and help them with symptom control, and also help them with create their own advanced care planning. And when they go back home, they also coordinate care for the people to stay at home And also, even if they want to die at home, the palliative care team can serve this purpose. I'd like to show you, this is the
Professor, you have 2 minutes left. Thank you.
okay, we can see that the patient who has a palliative care consultation, they have advanced care planning. And also they have access to symptom control with opioid morphine. So this is the benefit of palliative care. I'm going to show you this report in the provincial hospital where the retrospective people who die with cancer. You can see that patients who receive palliative care consultation, so they only just have aggressive treatment for only just 7.4%. When compared to patients who don't have palliative consult, they receive intubation and mechanical ventilation for more than 70%. And CPR, you can see. So this means that if you have palliative care consultation, you have a good symptom control, you have a good plan for your, especially at the end of life. And I would say that in Thailand, last year, the Ministry of Public Health has issued that every province, they have what we call Gutti Shiva Piban. I mean, because the monk, mostly they're in the monkhood for many, many years. And when they has a serious illness, and at the end of life, they don't have carer. And at the temple, at the Gutti temple, sometimes they don't have a monk who could take care of the monk who are at the end of life period. So now this regime, they try to initiate Gutti Shiva Piban in every province. This is the curriculum that we set up the curriculum for trained monks. To give care for monks who are bedbound and also at the end of life. So I think this is, the monk, if they're at the end of life, they could die at the temple, their own temple. They don't have to die in the hospital. So this is what we call a good spiritual care by having palliative care. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Siviang. Thanks for the very informative information on this presentation. And it seems that the good life that all of us want is a life where we can plan advanced care for our elderly and the loved one. Next, moving on, we have Dr. Istalang to speak. You have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How can I press the... okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share with you on the topics of palliative care. Let me start with you. For the next 10 minutes, I will convince you that the best place for care is at home, because home is where spirituality lives in the mind of the elderly, okay? And not the hospital. Now, to begin, I'd like to show this famous case study, which is the Queen Elizabeth, right? Everybody knows that she died in 2002. But interesting point was that 3 days before she died, she still functions at a perfect 100% function. 3 days later, the world learns that she has serious illness and died in that afternoon. The question for you is that, do you think she's 96 years old? Do you think this is a good way to die? Yeah? Would you rather have died like this in your own home, which is a palace, right? And how come? Why did most of us didn't receive it this way? Okay, you see, the Queen didn't go to the hospital, even though there was like 2,000 hospitals ready to be airlifted to, and everyone would be honored to take care of her. But it didn't work out that way, right? She died peacefully at home because it was planned. Okay. Now, what kind of disease that causes us to have a sudden death like that? You see, dying when you do, who in this conference thinks that if I were to die, I would rather be unconscious and then die right away, or would you rather be, bedridden then die? What do you think? Which one is better for you? Sudden death, or the being crippled before you die? Okay. And now, what kind of things would allow you to die like that? Yes, heart attack or myocardial infarction, arrhythmia, stroke. Okay, you become conscious, suddenly unconscious, and then dies. Or even accidents like falls, bleeding in the head. In these, what happens when that happens? Everybody went to the hospital and be saved. Okay? And then what happened when you go to the hospital or bring the elderly to the hospital? The doctors did not know, what the story before. So if you cannot breathe, they will give you some tubes in the mouth. You can't eat, so they put another tube in the nose to the stomach, and then give you IV access, and do whatever they think need to be done according to the standard. Okay. So what happens? You might be in the ICU. You may be so sick that even doctor tried to save you, you died anyway. Therefore, you died in the hospital. You didn't die like the queen, right? Or if you are saved, then maybe you're unconscious forever. Is that the way people want it to be? Yeah. And then if they use technology, maybe you're saved, maybe you survive, but they cannot take it out. Yeah? So it eventually you become in the hospital for a long time, and they will offer something so that you can go home with. Okay? But then you may be survived but not aware of anything, or you may be surviving and aware that you cannot do anything else, right? So this is what happens when you go to the hospital, right? All of this, because it was done, because they hope you will survive and come back and do the same thing all over again. But that actually didn't happen. It happened maybe only 10%. If you go to the hospital, that means you consent to the being died in the hospital and everything else in between. Okay? So if you said, no, I don't want to be crippled, and then dies, then my advice is don't go to the hospital. Okay? Because the hospital is where people prolong life without considering the outcome. Okay? So what happens if you want to stay home? How would you do that? Most people would say, oh, I already told my children, if I'm unconscious, don't take me to the hospital. Do you think they will listen to you? They may want to listen to you, but then they were, it was sudden. Like suddenly you were eating yesterday, and today you were not responsive. So what can they do? They were like shocked. So not knowing what to do, send to the doctors. So therefore, if even you say, don't send me to the hospital, they'll send you anyway, right? Okay? So in order to not send to the hospital, or you send to the hospital but don't resuscitate me, you have to do something in writing. And this is called living will, because Thailand has enacted the law that allows everyone, a Thai citizen, to write a living will. And if the doctor sees this living will, do not do anything to me, we can respect you, okay? We can respect and not doing anything, even though your children bring you to us, yeah, and wanting a resuscitation. So living will is what you should get today, that everybody can write it down. But if you don't write it down, it will be just like your words. And then suddenly, if you come to me, I'm a doctor, I bring my mom here to you, but don't do anything. Mom says, don't do anything. I said, okay, who are you? I'm a son or a daughter. How many sons and daughters does she have? 5. And what do the others say? Oh, I don't know. Then the doctor cannot respect what you say. And even they want to respect what you say, they didn't know who else is in your family.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Okay, that's right. So in this, not wanting to go home, and the better way is to notify a doctor for home visit. And now everybody can be rested assured that, okay, being home cannot be resuscitated. Yeah? And then you can be allowed to die as like you wanted. Okay? And what do? We just allow you to sleep. Yeah? Sleep well, doesn't hurt at all. And then natural death will come in a few days, but you were unconscious anyway. And this is where the work of the children is to do spiritual care. And who would know about spirituality of the person that better than the family, right? Yes, because doctors doesn't know anything about the spiritual. Even if we are interested, we have like 10 patients, 100 patients to take care of. We can't remember anything. And it's not, so want to do spiritual care is the best done at home. Okay, so this is what I imagine. Let's fast forward this thing, okay? Now, so the key point of this is that we have resolved this way, is that instead of seeing everybody in the hospital, we ask every elderly, you know, what they think if they're suddenly unconscious, how do you want to be cared for? If they made advanced care planning, that no, I want quality of life and peaceful death, then don't go to the hospital. Minor illnesses can be treated at home. And even a major illness like this, you also stay at home. And then if you're unconscious, you likely suffer a very serious disease, and that can be allowed to die peacefully at your home. So in this way, there was no need to come to the hospital. And that's where, and in case you're scared and take him to the hospital, it will be intercepted by the living will, right? And we will send you home right away. And this is where Yuen Yen comes in. We are the home care service that asks the patient first, what was their value of life and death. And if they say, no, I have lived my life already completely, I don't need to prolong life or anything more, then stay at home. You know? We live with family, make sure that every of the children agrees with it or respects the elderly wish. And then we can take care of home. We will follow you up at home. And if anything comes up, we'll take intervention at home, like this one, right? The home environment is much better than, say, in the hospital. And then with this, you know, there was 2/3 was cancer patients, and 1/3 was the elderly, which is a mean age of 88 years old. Okay, so they all stay home, and what happened is that they didn't die right away. You know, even though this is a palliative care service, we follow everyone, you know, until they die, which is several years after that. Okay, and then the median follow-up time is 1.2 months for cancer, and then 4.1 months for the elderly. Okay, and then we allow patients to die at home without ever come to the hospital in 73% in Bangkok. Yeah? The usual care in Bangkok, they die only 33% at home. But this service will allow you to die at home for 33%. And it has saved cost because in the last 6 months of life, it incur cost around, this is based on the data from the National Health Service, there was 60,000 baht in the last 6 months of life. And if everybody goes, stay at home, never go to the hospital, we saved so far 33 million baht of hospital admissions. Okay? It will lead to a sustainable development for the country. And even though we are going through the, you know, a society of aged care, there will be no increased cost to the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the very important presentation. One thing that I pick up from the presentation is that the living will is a very important step in order to ensure life and dignity of the elderly. Next, please welcome Associate Professor Dr. Suchira Chai Vibuntham. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a speaker at a great conference like here. So we try to answer all discussion questions, but it's too much. But I will pick up some issue to discuss in the topic of spiritual harmony and integrating end-of-life planning and spiritual needs for the elderly. And I think for the advanced care planning and living will, Dr. Si Wieng and Dr. Islang give you an information, so I will skip this point, and I will focus on the example of the advanced care planning in Thai version we call Bao Chai notebook or Smut Bao Chai. This is like a soft and easy to understand for the advanced care guide for the people to prepare what they need at the end of life. The main component of this advanced care plan guideline is the composed of the personal information. Could you please open the file of สมุดเบาใจ that I already sent เปิดไฟล์สมุดเบาใจอีกไฟล์หนึ่งนะคะขอบคุณนะคะ You see like the detail of the advanced care planning booklet we call สมุดเบาใจ It will start with the meaning of the advanced care planning as Dr. Si Wieng already informed you. Okay. Start with your personal information, including your pride in your life and the illness and your perspective on your illness. And the most important thing that you would like to do before you die, and the perspective of the death. And also, what is your value? And there are at least the value that you have to choose, or the other value you can write things down. And after that, this booklet inform you about the knowledge for the end-of-life care and confirm or ask you about how do you think about the dying of yourself. Are you accepted that? And what is palliative care? And what do you think about palliative care? Life-sustaining, withdrawal or withholding. And what do you think about the life-sustaining? And the most important thing is the proxy. The proxy is the health proxy. Is the designated person you told them to be a proxy of health who make a decision on behalf of you when you cannot make a decision. Okay, this one is like the advanced directive that the thing that you want to receive or refuse at the end of life, and the place of death, at home or hospital. Sorry. And this one is like care, the other care that you would like to receive at the end of life. Okay, and this one is like the communication at the end of life. Suppose the doctor would like to tell you about the prognosis and diagnosis. You would like to listen the prognosis by yourself only, or you would like to listen to the prognosis and the diagnosis with your friend or your loved one, or you don't want to know anything, but the doctor have to talk to the one that I would like them to be on behalf of yours. So, and you would like to communicate with the one you love in some issue, such as you like to tell that you love them, you thank of them, you're grateful to them. And the thing that important for many people is the funeral. This booklet provides the information that what you would like to do about your funeral, and the one you would like to be in charge of your funeral, including budget, including the characteristic of your funeral. Okay ค่ะ กลับไปที่สไลด์ได้ค่ะ Thank you. This is like a soft advanced care planning in Thai society that you can download from the website. You just key สมุดเบาใจ Yes. Okay, I think I can skip the spiritual needs because Dr. Si Wieng already talked about it. And this one is like a palliative care, meaning that we already informed by our doctor. And this one is my research that I conduct in the terminal patient who is in the home base and the faith-based organization. The faith-based organization we conduct in the faith-based that care for the HIV/AIDS patient and the cancer patient and the home-based people about the spiritual well-being and Buddhist practice in this patient, and we found that the more Buddhist practice in this patient, the more spiritual well-being they have. Yes. And this issue is like an issue that present in the discussion question. The main challenge in supporting elderly loved ones' spiritual needs at the end of life. I think the challenge is the difficult to initiate the conversation about the spirituality and death. And it's important, it's difficult, but we have to maybe start with the advanced care planning or such like create like a safe and open and respect space. And the lack of an understanding or awareness, we have to educate or raise the awareness to people, I think to all people, to know about the advanced care planning and the spiritual offer for the elderly. Okay. The limited access to spiritual resource. I think the strategy is to facilitate the access to spiritual leaders. And sometimes I think now we use technology as a bridge to help them to meet like spiritual leaders by using video clip or something like that.
Okay. 2 minutes.
2 minutes left. Okay. I think I will skip some slides and I will go to the slide that about the policy that Dr. Si Wieng talked about the Kuti Shiva Pibhan. Because of our health policy in 2003 to 2024 state about the hospice in Thailand. They would like the hospice established in all provinces in Thailand. But the policy is might sustain or not sustain, I don't know. And I already talked with Dr. Islang that if we make it by ourselves, it might be sustained. So for me, myself, and my team at Ramathibodi School of Nursing, I try to establish like the training program for the village health volunteer. I try to establish the educational training program and workshop to the village health volunteer to understanding about the palliative care and understanding about the care at the end of life for the patient in their communities. And then we set up a team to visit the patient at their home, and also we go to the temple to visit a monk who have like a cancer at terminal stage. And we have to run and revisit both village health volunteer and our patients in my area in primary care every 3 months or every 4 months, because my base is in Bangkok, but I have to go there. Okay, this is like an example and my perspective about this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the presentation and your insight into the research and the detail of how Thailand is preparing for the palliative care is very informative and very helpful. Thank you again. Moving on to the last presenter, please welcome Dr. Wuttipong. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for first Dr. Kriengsak, who is not right here, but that's all right, for the invitation, and thank you for all the participants. I have prepared some materials for this session, which likely takes more than 8 minutes. So I'll just keep on going and then let the moderator decide when to stop me. So I have about 8 minutes, so I'll just keep on going. This thing, I presume this is the way you do, right? Or here? All right. The topic is end of life, spiritual harmony. There are just two answers that I will be giving at this session. One is at the personal or individual level, and the other one is at sort of an institutional or social level. First, I will go to the personal, individual level. This is really something quite personal and rather close to my heart. This is not academic, it's not medical, it's really personal. I feel that the anxiety of these people near end of life or EOL people, I have visited friends, colleagues, in ICUs, right before they pass. The things that I feel that sort of capture my emotions most is that they're sort of their anxiety, their fear. And that's, I think there are just about 3 or 4 things that people makes them very, very uncomfortable about approaching the EOL. First is, of course, fear of death, because death is something unknown. We spend decades in life, but we haven't experienced death yet, right? So this will be the first time. So fear of death is reasonable. But more than fear of death, a lot of people have been unhappy at EOL, end of life, long before. I think this is also an issue that is very important, and maybe we should also pay attention to and capture and try to solve. Because these people are not so afraid of the moment of death. They don't have any reason why they want to live, toward the end of life. They are actually living in despair. And I think that is something that I feel for a lot of people. There's no reason. There's no purpose in life. And the third one, which is a bit of a spiritual nature, I don't know. This is much debated among the spiritualists. The question of, is there really an afterlife? Is there? So doubt about the afterlife. I think these are the 3 things that give anxiety or, makes a end-of-life experience rather painful, maybe a bit much. But, anxiety and unpleasantness and all that, these are the three things. I said this is personal because this is something that I never felt. And I wonder why. I never felt any of this. Fear of death, no. Despair in life, no. Doubt about the afterlife, I have no doubt. There is afterlife. Okay? So this is personal. So to clear, first, not at the social level, let's at the individual level or at a personal level. I think the main thing is spiritual perspective. How if you just have the right perspective or worldview, but this is not the material worldview, we are talking about spiritual worldview. If you can get the right worldview, I don't know if this is the right one, but this is the one I have and the one that helped me to clear up the fear of death and, the despair in living and all that. So I think it may be useful and can be applied to several others. Spiritual perspective. My spiritual perspective, I said, death is just a change of residence. Just moving from an old house to a new house. Move from one residence to another. Move from one town to another. And all that. Why I said that? I said, because it's really just change of residence. And what do you do when you move? When you move, you do just a few things, very standard. First, you prepare a new home. If you don't have a good new home, you don't prepare for it, then it's going to be a very anxious experience. So prepare new home. Second one, you have to clear all your belongings. This you will take away with you, hopefully not too much, and this will leave behind. These are to be given away. These are for charity and all that. Clear belongings. And house cleanup. When I said house cleanup, I don't mean physically, but I mean this is spiritual house cleaning. So I have problem with you. I should clear it up before I go. And these are my loved ones. I should go and express my deep feelings before I go. So it's like house cleanup, but in a spiritual sense. And lastly, farewell to neighbors. Before we go, neighbors, if you have something that hasn't been settled, unfinished businesses and all that, so we have to clear that up, and that's farewell to neighbors. That's the way. But this sort of an analogy, this is sort of the spiritual level of doing all this. But these are very simple, just like what we do when we move from one place to another. And I said, there's no anxiety for me because life it's just like moving, change of residence. Why do I say that? This is a little bit of spiritual content here. How do I see life? Life, the way I view it, is just one of these things. I don't know how to carry microphone and show this at the same time. Oh, so you're going to do it from, oh, wow. This is great. Life is just made up of all these 2 or 3 things. On the material aspect, if you look at any spiritual tradition, there's one thing, the material aspect. And what do scientists say? These are whatever around us. It's made up of 2 things. One is called matter. Matter is, oh, thank you. This is very nice to be able to be served like this. this is materials, atoms and molecules, something that you find in the periodic table, right? Carbon, oxygen, water, and all that. And then the other one is the energy. Energy is light, sound, magnetism, electricity, whatever. So these are basically what scientists say the cosmos is made up of. But scientists always leave out this thing for some reason. This is non-material. This is physics, can be explained by physics. But this belongs to a different realm. This is metaphysics. We call in Buddhism, Chit. We call in Hinduism, Jiva. In Jainism, Jiva. In China, they call it Tao or Qi, right? Usually in Christianity, we call it spirit or soul, right? In Hollywood, if you're the Star Wars fan, we call this the Force, the Force. You see, when the Jedi, one Jedi leaving another Jedi, right? So may the Force be with you, right? This is. And what is life? In a very simple term, life is the coming together, the joining, the fusing of matter, energy, and the spirit. You lock it up. It don't stay apart. Now it's become just one unit. One unit is matter, energy, and spirit. Click, click, click. And you no longer see these three as separate. Now you're looking at me. You are not just trying to count the molecules of water in me, right? You don't try to figure out how many carbon atoms that Woody has, that kind of thing. You see me. This is the manifestation of this coming together. But you see me talking, speaking, exchanging. You no longer see these three things. What you see is green. This is life. So now you are interacting with me. You don't interact with this. You interact with that. When it come together and form life, this is called birth. But this does not last forever. This yellow gets tired. It said, well, I don't want to be with you anymore. You are my burden. Go away. Energy, go away. And then it goes. And this thing collapses. You don't no longer see that. What do we call this thing? This is death. But in most Dharmic religions, they said, that's not the end. That's not the end. At another point in time, after death, there is afterlife. The yellow miss having life. So they go and look for matter and energy. Well, of course, different atoms, different molecules now, but still the same thing. And then click, 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 and you form another life. What do you call that? Birth, of course. Well, I have books for you. You're good. So this is birth. And this keep on going until at the end, according to several religions, they said the yellow gets so tired. I have been doing this too many times, You have thousands, or some people say millions or billions, so many times. Get sick and tired of it. I don't want to tangle with blue and red anymore. I want to be independent. And then that's what they call, in spiritual terms, this is enlightenment. That yellow becomes gold. Actually, gold is just yellow, except that it is pure and pristine. This time is pure and pristine. So this is enlightened mind. What do we call this? In Buddhism, we call it nirvana. In Hinduism, we call it moksha. In Jainism, also moksha. In Chinese tradition, we call it Tao. You reach Tao, right? And you reach enlightenment. Some people say you reach cosmic consciousness, okay? And so this is the way. If you look at it, that's really, shouldn't be no fear about after death. You just move your residence from one to another, and hopefully for the better, for the better. So you prepare. How do you prepare? First, change of residence. You have to understand life. First, you see, red and blue and yellow come together and form the green square. That's life. And what? This is death. This is, in Buddhism, we call it cycle of rebirth, right? So death, birth, and death, and birth, and death, and birth, and death for innumerable numbers of time. However, there's another alternative. By leaving that cycle of rebirth, we call this enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment. And at the end, you get to nirvana, moksha, cosmic consciousness. I don't want to step outside the bound, but you see that word, which I will not say much. I think that's the black hole. That's the origin of the universe.
All right, I really don't want to do this, but there is another session coming up right here, and we are like 4-minute break now, so please conclude.
Please conclude. Actually, I can stop right now. Oh, there's just a few more minutes. Okay. So this is the way it is. So no fear. What do you do? This is the overall spiritual landscape. However, you don't just simply just go to nirvana. You have to progress. It's almost like going step by step. It's like what Charles Darwin called evolution. But Charles Darwin evolution is biological evolution. The evolution I'm talking here is a spiritual evolution. I just identify about 5 steps or 5 levels. The first one is biological. Second one, biological is that we care only about, food, drinks, and air, and sensory pleasure, and all that. So that's the level. That's not only for humans. Animals have this also. Hopefully, after that, you graduate to the second level. What is second level? Emotional. Emotional is that I don't just eat food. I care about how he thinks about me. He likes me, he admires me, or he hates me, or that. So our concern is not just about biological things, now emotional. The third one is intellectual. I know he's going to interrupt, but I just pretend I don't see him, okay? for a minute. Intellectual, and then you go up intellectually. However, the very important step is moral. Dr. Kringsat mentioned all the time, what really differentiates two groups of people is moral. Moral is what? In one single word, is altruism. If I always think about myself, everything is about myself, or everything is about others, that's a big change. However, after that, in Buddhism, we said, morality is not enough. We need we need wisdom. So this is the 5th level. So spiritual progression, that's what I think Doctor is talking about. Maybe we can help and clear up this thing by spiritual progression. There are 3 ways. First is faith. You pray, you chant, you perform rituals, you ask for that, And the third one, which is for Eastern religions, is wisdom. People. The common ground, the first one is mostly monotheistic Western religions like Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim and Islam. You see, people give faith. They look upward. The third one is mostly Eastern religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism. We look wisdom. We look inward. The second one is morality, which is a common ground between East and West, is morality. That means we look outward and around. So I think if we can get this, we get the morality, our end of life will be much, much better. So the morality, people talk about different morality. I collapse it down to just one. Actually, before one is four. If you take various religions like 10 Commandments, and then you extract the 5 precepts of Buddhism and then Jainism. Actually, there are 4 things that people talk about: no killing, no adultery, no stealing, no lying. And I said, these 4 are just basic. This is perhaps universal morality. To go beyond that, these 4 can be collapsed to 1 because 4. These are just the way you harm and hurt others. This is how you make other people suffer 4 different ways. You can do it physically, emotionally, or materially. So in one word, you can collapse this. You said, ahimsa. Do not cause harm and suffering to others. And then the Christians have the same thing, the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Or I think at the end, there's only one thing: compassion. Compassion is just the root of ahimsa. If you have compassion, or in Buddhism we call it metta, that metta will be the foundation. You don't even have to worry about all these precepts or 10 commandments or 200 commandments or whatever. Just one single thing, metta or compassion. And I said, how do you create compassion among people and make them happy and happy at the end of life? I said, wow, so simple. Make them eat cake. I said, but why cake? I said, wow, you have to learn how to cook it. You have to how to bake cake. Before you can bake cake, you have to know the ingredients. Cake, give everybody. If all the humankind eat more cake, the world will be a better place. Eat cake. Compassion, altruism, kindness, empathy. So this is the end of my talk. Let's go home and eat cake. Thank you.
All right. So to conclude, everyone, please have a cake every day. Thank you.